Whew. You know, I really got to work on my upload schedule. All right, here we are, back on the roof. I'm trying to get good light here. There we go. Jesus Christ. Okay, so back on the roof. First upload in a while. Welcome back to the channel. If you're coming back, and if you're new to the channel, welcome. Here we do a lot of cool photography. As you can see, that is the topic of the video today. As you can probably notice, I'm a massive weeb and a massive light painting fan. And that is the topic of today, the Hinokami Kagura. I learned how to be a sunbreather, guys. So I'm gonna show you guys the background, how to do it, how to basically get really good results, tips and tricks, what to do, what not to do. And yeah, basically that's it. So let's get to it. I gotta ask one more thing. Do you guys like the cinematic stuff? I've been trying to play around with more cinematography, videography, trying to get into that. So that's like kind of the biggest thing with this video right here. So yeah, let me know if you guys like that. All right, now we're going back. So a little background about all this light painting stuff. As you've noticed, if you follow me on Instagram and all that, I really like a lot of light stuff, and especially fire, been liking using it a lot in my photography and stuff. I think it was only natural since I watched a lot of anime and stuff that I wanted to mix up cosplay and light painting. And basically I got a little Tanjiro costume, got my fire stick, lit that thing on fire, and basically got some pretty cool shots. If you're trying to like recreate this shot or just do any light painting in general, and you're new to it and you don't know where to start from, first thing, camera. As long as it has like a time mode, you should be good to go. That way you can like get the long exposure. And it depends, like it could be something like a second, 2 seconds long for like a lot of the light tubes that I use. Or if you're doing something that's like a little bit longer, it could be a minute, 30 seconds. You basically need a remote shutter you can use. You can get a ventilometer. Honestly, like a lot of times I just use a, basically just like remote shutter from like Young Now, is it? It looks like that. So you get like one of these units, one's like a receiver that you plug in to your camera with like a little cord right here. It depends, like sometimes with like Nikon, they have, Nikon, Sony, Canon, they all have different cords. So you have to look and see what is the port that you need for your like reverse shutter or remote shutter options, mechanisms for your camera thing. So one's gonna be a transmitter, one's gonna be a receiver. You basically get that, put that on your camera. You have the means to be able to basically shoot remotely if you're trying to do light paint remotely, or just have the means to put it in timed or bold mode and basically work with that. And then of course you will need the means of fire. So you'll need like some kind of stick. I just use like basically just like a makeshift like stick thing. Dowel actually from Home Depot. Basically just like a broomstick. And then if you want to get like really, really cheap and DIY with it, you just grab that, duct tape like a shirt to it. You can use like stapler, just like tape and just like tape it up there, and then basically that's your fire sword pretty much here or there. I've been switching more to a fire porous sword. So a lot of the contact swords that are used in a lot of flow arts, they're actually really better because like instead of using cotton, they use a Kevlar or something like the Nomex weave. So that's going to prevent, number one, it's going to burn hotter, and I think for longer as well too. And then you won't have to deal with any dangerous embers burning off. Cotton burns off, you get the grades, starts flying around. You have like basically not molten cotton, but basically just lit up cotton flying around. So pretty much a fire hazard that you don't want to deal with that. Basically, you know, invest in one of those fire swords. So it's like Nomex, like Kevlar weave. You can also even like DIY it yourself if you want to do that. So I don't think Kevlar is that expensive to get. The results I've gotten from cotton seem pretty cool because sun breathing is supposed to kind of look more like kind of like a corona coming off of like the sun, and that's what it kind of looks like. If you ever look at those like close-up pictures of like a slower telescope, you kind of see like basically all this plasma being injected out. That's why I kind of like had incorporated in my photos a little bit. I kind of had like cleaned it up just a little bit so it looked not too crazy, but I actually kind of like the results that I was getting from that with the cotton kind of flying off and stuff. But in the future, I'm gonna see how the Kevlar kind of works out and see how that kind of changes as well too. If you're going to be doing this, respect the fire, have like an extinguisher or a fire blanket, something out there. You know, obviously don't add more fuel to a fire that's already lit. Like quench the fuel or just extinguish it and wait for it to cool off and then put it on there. Like be smart basically. Now, the methodology, what we ended up doing was like getting like an off-camera flash and just hitting myself while I do a thing. And basically the way you kind of want to like do it, you want to imagine like yourself almost drawing on like a two-dimensional plane, right? You can kind of move around back and forth, you know, basically just go and then move into the frame with the fire as well too. What will end up happening is that you may actually ride over yourself. So what will be required from the model if you're modeling is basically no proper blocking. Maybe keep it simple at first. Maybe, you know, basically just move laterally across the plane and do the attack like that. Me personally, I was trying to emulate some things here and there because if you see in the manga and the anime as well too, they kind of do a little bit more three-dimensional stuff. So you'll see kind of Tanjiro in the distance and then you have flames all around. You kind of want to like think about the shot for sure, you know, and then you also want to time the rear curtain flash as well too. And the purpose of the flash is basically so that you can freeze yourself, freeze the motion as you're moving, because, you know, basically it's a long exposure shot with the flash at the end. So long exposure, wherever that fire is going, it's basically going to be drawn onto the photo, you know, the photograph basically. And then wherever you're landing at with the flash, you're going to be illuminated, basically frozen, so to speak. So you won't have any blurring, so to speak, unless you're like the flash or your shutter speed is too low or your sync shutter is too low on your camera as well too. So also know about that one too. I should probably say for camera settings too, if you're trying to get into like more fire photography, you don't really need to add that much fuel. I've noticed less fuel is better because if you allow the cotton, your fabric, whatever it is, to catch on fire, you know, you let it kind of burn as you're moving around, feed it some oxygen as you swing it around, not too much, but just, you know, enough to keep it lit up. You will have kind of like a cleaner image. It'll look more accurate to the source. You know, it won't be an uncontrollable blaze. So that's one of the biggest things is like the amount of fuel, you really don't need that much, just like a little bit, kind of play around with it, you know, see how it looks. You know, if you need more, quench the fire and then just, you know, wait for, you know, fabric to cool off, add more fuel, then light it up. So that's one thing. I would say for camera settings as well too, ISO like 100. Aperture, depends here and there. I don't think you really need to be shooting wide open. I usually shoot like 3.5, maybe even 4 to get some detail in the background as well too. Pro tip, you don't need to be shooting wide open all the time. So yeah, that's basically the settings you need. ISO 100, I like 3.5, 4, maybe 5.6. And then shutter speeds, basically just going to be more or less manual, shutter, bulb, you name it, something like that. Now with flash as well too, you don't want to blow out the image too much. So I've been playing around with more lower levels, basically it's the lowest setting. So it might be like 1/28 power or something like that. And then, you know, if that's like not enough, just add more incrementally in it to see how it turns out in your photo. So other than that, let's take a look at the pictures. Boom. So it was a pretty fun experience for me. I liked it. Definitely looking forward to doing more of the kind of anime-inspired light painting shots. Have some more ideas going into the new year as well too. And hopefully I can like kind of execute them. If you like the video, as very aggressive. If you like the video, right? If you like the video, like, comment, subscribe, you know, and stay tuned for more videos coming up. And if you guys have any cool ideas that you maybe want to see executed, I can give it a shot too. So, you know, comment as well too. So yeah, stay tuned for more. Peace.